Hi, it's Wednesday, August 17th, 2016. Monaco 64 here, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. I'd like to talk about a date today. It's October 2nd, 2016. That's going to be a Monday. And September 30th, which is the Friday before that day. I've read some stuff from Jim Rickards, for example. He thinks it could be a major currency event, and he could be right. I just wanted to warn people about it. And there's also people talking about how October 2nd is the date for the Super Shemitah, you know, the big Jubilee year, the end of the 49-year Jubilee, and that something could happen in the financial markets. You know, I don't know, and I'm not trying to predict anything, you know, that we're going to have a crash or anything, but I just like to point out the facts that what is really going to happen. And to do this, we need to talk about global reserve currencies. And notice that I didn't say global reserve currency in singular, because despite the fact that the US dollar is considered a global reserve currency, there are other reserve currencies in the world. They're not as predominant as the US dollar, of course, but they're still there. Because, you know, a global reserve currency is a currency that is held in significant quantities by governments and institutions as part of their foreign exchange reserves. So they're considered kind of hard currencies. I know they're not backed by any, metal, but that's what they call them. And it's kind of like a club. So, for example, as of the third quarter of last year, the US dollar made 64% of global reserves. The euro, 20.3%. The British pound, 4.7%. The Japanese yen, 3.9%. The Canadian dollar, 1.9%, the Aussie dollar, 1.8%, and the Swiss franc, 0.3%. So those are the major hard currencies of the world. And they're kind of in a club, you know, the BIS club, Bank for International Settlements. And the real elite club is the currencies that are in the IMF's special drawing rights, or SDR. Basically, it's a currency basket that was created by the IMF in 1969, and countries that do have reserves with the IMF, they need to put it into SDRs, and to do that, they need to buy the currencies that are in that basket. And the currencies that are in that basket are the US dollar, the euro, the Japanese yen, and the British pound. Prior to the euro, prior to 1999, the Deutschmark and the French franc were part of the basket. So right now, yeah, those are the four currencies. But as I reported, actually, on November 30th, 2015, the IMF voted to allow China, the Chinese renminbi or yuan, whatever you want to call it, into the SDR basket. And the weighting for the renminbi or the yuan is going to be 10.92%. So at that time, I made a video, which is on the card on this video, and you can listen to it. And I talked about how the pound, British pound, took the brunt of the cut, because prior to the IMF deciding to allow the yuan into the basket, the pound had 11.3% weighting. From October 2nd, is going to have an 8.09% weighting. So it lost 28% of its weighting. The euro lost 17% of its weighting. It's going to go from 37.4% to 30.93%. The yen lost 11.38%, so it's going down from 9.4% to 8.33%. So the pound's dropping like to 5th place, and the Chinese yuan is going to have 10.92. It's going to be behind the euro and the dollar. The dollar is going to have, it's not going to change much. I think it's going to be, yeah, 41.73%. So it's still, and that's down from 41.9. And that's until 2020, because they're always reweighting it. So at the time, at that video in November, I said the pound is going to get really hit hard. The dollar hasn't really lost much of its weighting. But, you know, I've realized that basically this is like, for example, you have the Boston Celtics basketball team from the 80s, where Larry Bird was the star of the team. And then, you know, the Boston Celtic owners decide to buy Magic Johnson and put him alongside Larry Bird to play for the Boston Celtics. Larry Bird is going to be threatened. You know, the Celtics is not just going to be Larry Bird. It's going to be Bird and Magic Johnson. So that's the same thing here now. You know, it's not just the United States that's going to be the major reserve currency, because China is, by 2020, it's going to overtake probably the US in terms of all economic measurements. So you're allowing, you know, Magic Johnson to come and play for the Celtics. Larry Bird is going to feel threatened. So that's the same thing. Even though the weighting for the US dollar hasn't dropped, you're going to have a big, you know, star of the global economy coming in on as of October 2nd, and threatening, not immediately, threatening the predominance of the US dollar as a global reserve currency. So yes, that there could be something you know, quite significant happening during that period, and it could take more than just, you know, one weekend to happen. It could happen over the next 12, 18 months. And the other thing that came to my mind is because David Cameron, the former Prime Minister of the UK, when he campaigned last year in the general election, he said that he would give a referendum on whether to leave the European Union by the end of 2017. And you know that politicians, they always wait until the last minute for these kinds of events and pledges. But he decided to do the referendum June 2016, June 23rd. And I was always a bit surprised, you know, why did they do that? And I also was wondering why so early. But looking back now, you know, at the fact that the pound lost 28% of its weighting, and it's going to be like at the back of the queue now of the global reserve currency architecture. Could this Brexit thing have been used as an excuse to devalue the pound, because the pound needs to be devalued because it's going to be in 5th place now in the global reserve currency game? That could be the reason why, and it's not surprising, you know. The thing is, a lot of things that we are told, the general public, why things are happening, you know, at G7s, G20s, and so on and so forth. A lot of these things are just like for public consumption. I think we don't really know what happens exactly behind the scenes and the reasons for it. But I would say, you know, following the money is a good way to find out. And that's what I think. So what I'm trying to say here is that, yes, beware of the end of September, September 30th. That's the last trading day before the global reserve currency architecture changes to where China joins the club. So basically the yuan or renminbi will be a hard currency from October 2nd. So yeah, that is a threat to the dominance of the US dollar. You know, global trade is huge, you know, with China. Every country does trade with China. So yeah, Larry Bird, beware. Magic Johnson is joining the club. So that's what it feels like to me. So if you enjoyed this video and my analysis, please like, share, and subscribe. I also accept donations, whatever size you want to give. It doesn't matter. I've got the links below to PayPal, Bitcoin, and Patreon. Thanks for watching. Bye.